I watched my daughter Sarah stir something into my soup when she thought I wasn't looking. My own daughter, the little girl I raised alone after her mother died, the child I worked 3 jobs to put through college. She was standing at my kitchen counter with her back to me, and I saw her hand move quickly over my bowl. A small plastic bag disappeared into her jacket pocket. My heart stopped, but I kept my face calm. I pretended to check my phone while she carried both bowls to the dining table. "Here you go, Dad," she said, with that same sweet smile I'd loved for 38 years. "Homemade chicken soup, just like you taught me." I waited until she turned back to grab spoons. That's when I switched our bowls. "Before we continue, please tell us where you're watching from so we know how far our stories reach, and subscribe to the channel to help us grow." Let me take you back to where this nightmare really started. 6 months ago, everything seemed normal. My name is Robert Mitchell, and I'm 72 years old. I spent 40 years teaching chemistry at Portland State University before I retired 5 years ago. My wife Linda died when Sarah was just 10, so it was always just the 2 of us. We were close, or at least I thought we were. I lived in the same house where Sarah grew up, a modest 3-bedroom place in a quiet neighborhood. People thought I lived a simple life on my teacher's pension. They didn't know about the money. Nobody knew, not even Sarah. You see, I'd made some smart investments over the years. Very smart. A student of mine from the 80s started a tech company, and he offered me stock options as a thank you for helping him with his research. That company became worth billions. I also invested early in several pharmaceutical patents. By the time I retired, I had close to $8 million hidden away in accounts and investments that nobody knew about. I lived modestly because that's who I am. I didn't need fancy cars or big houses. I had everything I wanted. And I planned to leave it all to Sra when I died. Every penny. Sarah married Kevin about 5 years ago, right before I retired. Kevin worked in real estate, or at least that's what he told me. Decent-looking guy, always wore expensive suits. He called me Pops and brought wine to Sunday dinners. I wanted to like him. I really did. But something about him always felt off. The way he looked at things in my house, like he was calculating their value. The way he asked too many questions about my finances. "Just looking out for you, Pops," he'd say, "making sure you're comfortable in retirement." The first few years of their marriage seemed fine. They visited every couple of weeks. Sarah seemed happy. But about 6 months ago, things changed. Sarah started visiting more often, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week, always alone. At first, I was happy about it. Quality time with my daughter. But then I noticed things. She'd walk around the house like she was looking for something. She'd ask strange questions. "Dad, do you have any other bank accounts besides your checking account?" she asked one Tuesday afternoon. "Why do you ask, sweetheart?" "Oh, just making sure you're organized. You know, for the future. Another time." She asked about my safe. I've had a small safe in my closet for years. Nothing special, just important documents and some cash. "Do you still have that old combination code, Dad? The one with Mom's birthday?" "I changed it a while back," I lied. I hadn't, but something made me cautious. Her face fell for just a second before she caught herself. "Oh, okay. Just wondering." Then came the money requests. "Dad, Kevin and I are thinking about buying a bigger house. Could you help with the down payment? Maybe 50,000? 50,000. I could afford it easily. But something stopped me. "Let me think about it, Sarah. That's a lot of money." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Of course, Dad. No pressure. 2 weeks later, another request. Dad, Kevin's company has a great investment opportunity. If we put in 75,000 or more, we could double it in 6 months. Sarah, those things are usually too good to be true. But Kevin knows what he's doing. He's a professional. I said no. She left angry that day, barely saying goodbye. The visits changed after that. She became colder, distant. Kevin started coming with her, and I'd catch them whispering in corners. Once I came back from the bathroom and they were in my bedroom. They jumped apart when I walked in. Just looking for a phone charger, Pops, Kevin said, but there was no charger in his hands. I started paying closer attention. I noticed Kevin taking pictures of things in my house with his phone. I saw Sarah trying my closet door when she thought I was napping. Something was very wrong. 3 weeks ago, I decided to do something I'm not proud of. I installed a small camera in my living room, hidden in a bookshelf. I'm a chemistry professor, not a tech expert, but YouTube taught me how. What I saw on that camera broke my heart into pieces. It was a Tuesday evening. Sarah and Kevin came over for dinner. I'd gone to bed early, or so they thought. I was actually in my room, watching the live feed on my tablet. They sat on my couch and Kevin pulled out a bottle of whiskey. They both looked stressed. "We're out of time," Kevin said, his voice tight. "Tony wants his money by the end of the month, or he's going to break my legs. Maybe worse." Sarah's hands were shaking. "How much do we owe him now?" "With interest, 340,000. My blood ran cold. $340,000 in gambling debts. Sarah started crying. "I don't know what to do. We've borrowed from everyone. We're maxed out on every credit card. The house is in foreclosure. We're going to lose everything." "Your dad has money," Kevin said. "He has to. No way he lived on a teacher's salary all these years and has nothing. I've asked him. He won't help." Kevin's voice got hard. "Then we need to find it ourselves. There's got to be something in that safe, or other bank accounts, maybe stocks, bonds, something." "He won't give me the combination." "Then we take it." Sarah looked up. "What do you mean?" Kevin leaned closer. "Your dad's old, Sarah. Things happen to old people. They fall. They have accidents, heart attacks, and when they die, everything goes to their only daughter." My chest felt tight. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't happening. "Kevin, that's my father. That's our only option. Unless you want Tony's guys to kill me. Unless you want to end up on the street. Your dad's had a good life. He's 72. How much longer does he have anyway?" Sarah was quiet for a long time. Too long. "How would we?" she whispered. "We make it look natural. I know people. There are things that can do it. Things that don't show up in normal autopsies." He paused. "I can get something by Friday." Sarah put her head in her hands. "I can't believe we're talking about this." "We don't have a choice, baby. It's him or us." The camera kept recording as they planned. My daughter and her husband, planning my murder in my own living room. I watched that video 5 times that night, hoping I'd misunderstood. Hoping it was a nightmare. But it was real. For the next 3 weeks, I watched and waited. I saw Kevin meet with someone in a parking lot and take a small package. I saw Sarah crying in her car before coming in to visit me, then putting on a fake smile. I watched them search my house when I pretended to be asleep. And then came yesterday, Sunday dinner. Sarah offered to cook. I'll make your favorite, Dad. Homemade chicken soup. She insisted on cooking alone in the kitchen. Said she wanted it to be a surprise. And that's when I saw her, reflected in the glass of the picture frame on the wall, standing at the counter with her back to me, her hand moving over my bowl of soup, the small plastic bag disappearing into her pocket. My own daughter was trying to kill me. So I switched our bowls. Now we were sitting at the table, and Sarah was lifting her spoon to her lips, my bowl in front of her, her poisoned soup in front of me. "Wait," I said. She looked up. "What's wrong, Dad?" I stared at my daughter, at the woman who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, who I taught to ride a bike, who gave the speech at her high school graduation, thanking me for everything I'd sacrificed. "I just want to say something before we eat," I said slowly. "I love you, Sarah, no matter what. You're my whole world." Her eyes filled with tears, real tears. For a moment I thought maybe she'd stop. Maybe she'd push the bowl away and confess everything and we could fix this. Instead, she smiled. "I love you too, Dad. Now eat your soup before it gets cold." She took the first bite. Sarah took 3 more spoonfuls before anything happened. I sat there, not touching my soup, watching her. Part of me wanted to scream, to knock the bowl from her hands, but I needed to know. I needed to see if she'd really go through with it. If she'd sit there and watch me die. "Aren't you eating, Dad?" she asked between bites. "Just enjoying watching you. You look so much like your mother when you eat soup. She always started with the vegetables first, just like you." Sarah smiled, but I could see confusion in her eyes. She glanced at my full bowl, then back at her own. Something flickered across her face. Uncertainty. Fear. Then she gasped. Her hand went to her throat. The spoon clattered against the bowl. "Dad, something's wrong." "What is it, sweetheart?" I asked calmly. "My throat. It's burning. And my stomach." She stood up fast, knocking her chair backward. Her face went pale. "Dad, I feel really sick. I need—" She didn't finish. She ran to the bathroom and I heard her getting violently ill. I sat at the table and waited. I didn't move. I just listened to my daughter suffering from the poison she'd meant for me. After 10 minutes, I called 911. "My daughter collapsed," I told the operator. "She's vomiting, having trouble breathing. Please hurry." The ambulance arrived 12 minutes later. By then, Sarah was on the bathroom floor, barely conscious. Her lips had a blue tint. The paramedics rushed in and started working on her immediately. "What did she eat?" one of them asked me. "Homemade soup, chicken soup. She made it herself." "Did you eat any?" "No, I hadn't started yet when she got sick." They loaded her onto a stretcher. As they wheeled her past me, her eyes opened slightly. She looked at me, and I saw the exact moment she understood. The bowls. I'd switched the bowls. Her eyes went wide with terror and realization. "Dad," she whispered. "I'll follow you to the hospital, sweetheart," I said gently. "Everything's going to be okay." They took her away. Kevin arrived 20 minutes later, speeding into my driveway. He ran up to my door, panicking. "Where is she? The hospital called me." "What happened?" "She got sick during dinner. Some kind of reaction. They took her to St. Vincent's." Kevin's face went white. "What did she eat?" "The soup she made." "Why?" "Do you know something about this, Kevin?" He stared at me, and I watched him work it out. The soup, the poison. Something had gone wrong. I need to go to her," he stammered. "Of course. I'll meet you there." He left in a panic, and I took my time. I sealed Sarah's bowl of soup in a container. The bowl I was supposed to eat from. I put it in my refrigerator. Then I collected the spoon she'd used and placed it in a plastic bag. Evidence. I drove to the hospital slowly, carefully. In the parking lot, I sat in my car for a moment and called my lawyer, Richard Chen. We'd worked together for 30 years on various matters. "Richard, I need your help with something urgent and unusual." "Robert, what's wrong? You sound strange." "My daughter just tried to kill me. She poisoned my soup but ended up eating it herself. She's in the emergency room now. I need to protect myself legally and I need to move fast." There was a long silence. "Robert, that's a serious accusation. I have proof, video evidence, recorded conversations. I'll send everything to you tonight. But first, I need you to freeze all my assets immediately. Every account, every investment. I don't want Sarah or Kevin to be able to touch a single penny." That can take some time to. I'll pay you triple your usual rate. I need it done by tomorrow morning." Richard's voice became professional. "I'll start making calls now. But Robert, if your daughter really did this, you need to involve the police." "I will. But I need to be smart about this. I need everything documented perfectly. Can you recommend a private investigator?" "I know someone, discreet, former FBI. I'll text you his number." "Thank you, Richard." I hung up and sat there in the hospital parking lot, my hands shaking. This was real. This was happening. My daughter had tried to murder me. Inside the hospital, I found Kevin pacing in the emergency waiting room. His eyes were red. "They won't let me see her yet," he said. "They're running tests. They think it might be some kind of poisoning." "Poisoning?" I acted shocked. "How is that possible?" "I don't know." He couldn't look at me. "They asked me if she had access to any chemicals or toxins, if she'd been depressed lately." "Sarah? Depressed? She seemed fine at dinner. Happy even." A doctor came out an hour later. Dr. Patricia Hayes, according to her badge. "Mr. Mitchell, I'm treating your daughter. Are you Kevin Morrison?" "That's me," Kevin said quickly. "How is she?" "She's stable but critical. Her symptoms are consistent with arsenic poisoning, though we're still running confirmatory tests. Do either of you know how she might have been exposed to arsenic?" Kevin's face went grey. I watched him carefully. "Arsenic?" I said. "That's impossible. We just had dinner at my house. Soup. She made it herself." Dr. Hayes looked at me sharply. "Did you eat any of this soup?" "No, I was about to when she got sick." "We'll need to test the soup. Do you still have it?" "Yes, at home. I can bring it in." "Please do, and don't touch it without gloves. If there's arsenic in it, we need to figure out how it got there." She paused. "I have to ask, is there any possibility this was intentional? Self-harm?" Kevin jumped in. "No, Sarah would never. She's happy. We're happy. This must be an accident. We'll let the police determine that. They'll want to speak with both of you." The police? Perfect. Detective James Morrison arrived 2 hours later. No relation to Kevin, different spelling. He was a tall, black man in his 50s, with kind eyes and a notepad. "Mr. Mitchell, I understand your daughter became ill after eating soup at your home." "That's right. She made it herself. I was about to eat mine when she collapsed." "And you didn't eat any?" "No. Lucky timing, I suppose." "Very lucky." He wrote something down. "I'll need to collect that soup for testing. Can you walk me through what happened?" I told him everything. Well, almost everything. I explained how Sarah made dinner, how I was about to eat when she got sick, how I called 911. I left out the part about switching bowls. I left out the videos. Not yet. Has your daughter seemed troubled lately? Any financial problems you know of? Kevin spoke up fast. No, we're fine. Everything's fine. Detective Morrison looked at him. And you are? Kevin Morrison, Sarah's husband. I see. The detective made more notes. Mr. Mitchell, I have to ask a difficult question. Do you and your daughter have a good relationship? We do. She's my only child. I'd do anything for her. And your financial situation? Comfortable? I live on my pension. Nothing fancy, but I'm comfortable. Kevin shifted uncomfortably beside me. I could see sweat on his forehead. Well, we'll test the soup and see what we find. In the meantime, your daughter will be under police protection at the hospital. Standard procedure in potential poisoning cases. Over the next 3 days, I moved carefully. I met with Richard's private investigator contact, a man named Marcus Webb. I gave him copies of all my video footage, the conversations between Sarah and Kevin about killing me, the meeting where Kevin received the poison, everything. This is serious evidence, Marcus said, watching the videos. You could take this to the police right now. Not yet. I need more. I need absolute proof. Can you follow Kevin? See what he does, who he talks to. Already on it. I also worked with Richard to freeze everything. Every account, every investment, every asset. We created a legal wall that would take months to break through, even for my own daughter. Are you sure about this, Robert? Richard asked. Once this is done, there's no easy way back. I'm sure. My daughter tried to kill me for money she doesn't even know I have. When she finds out it's unreachable, I want to see what she does next. Sarah recovered slowly. The arsenic dose hadn't been quite enough to kill her. She'd only eaten a few spoonfuls before the symptoms hit. The doctors said she was lucky. If she'd finished the bowl, she'd be dead. Kevin visited her every day. I visited too, playing the concerned father. I brought flowers. I held her hand. I watched her struggle with what had happened. Dad, she said on the 3rd day, her voice weak. The soup. How did arsenic get in it? I don't know, sweetheart. The police are investigating. They tested everything. It was only in your bowl, nowhere else in the kitchen. Her eyes met mine. She knew. She knew I knew. But she couldn't say anything without admitting what she'd done. That's so strange, she whispered. Very strange. Almost like someone put it there on purpose. But who would do that? I smiled sadly. I can't imagine. Can you? She looked away. On the 4th day, Marcus called me. You need to see this, he said. Kevin just met with the same guy who gave him the arsenic, and I recorded their whole conversation. I met Marcus at a coffee shop. He played the audio on his phone. Kevin's voice. The old man switched the bowls. I don't know how he knew, but he knew. Unknown voice. That's your problem. You still owe Tony 340 grand. Sarah almost dying doesn't change that. Kevin. I need more time. The old man has to have money somewhere. There's a safe in his house. Unknown voice. Then get it. You've got 1 week, or Tony's going to make an example out of you. I smiled. Perfect. Keep recording everything. That night, I was home alone when I heard someone at my back door. It was 2 a.m. I'd been expecting this. I watched on my phone as Kevin picked the lock and entered my house. He had a flashlight and a crowbar. He went straight to my bedroom closet where the safe was. I stayed in my guest room, lights off, phone recording everything. I heard him working on the safe with the crowbar, trying to pry it open. It took him 20 minutes, but he got it. I heard him rifling through papers, then a frustrated curse. "Where is it? Where's the money?" The safe had important documents, some family jewelry, and exactly $300 in cash. Nothing else. No bank statements showing millions. No stock certificates. Everything valuable was digital and locked away. I heard Kevin's footsteps coming down the hall. Fast. Angry. My bedroom door burst open and the light flicked on. Kevin stood there, crowbar in hand, breathing hard. "Where is it?" he demanded. I sat up calmly. Kevin, breaking and entering. That's a new low. "Where's your money, old man? I know you have it. I know you're not just living on a pension." "I don't know what you're talking about." He moved closer, raising the crowbar. "Sarah almost died because of you. You switched those bowls. You knew." "I knew my daughter was trying to kill me for money, yes. I've known for weeks." His face twisted with rage. "Then you know we're desperate. You know what happens if we don't pay. Help us or what? You'll kill me like you planned. Go ahead. There are cameras everywhere, Kevin. You're being recorded right now. Every word, every movement." He looked around wildly, spotting the camera in my bookshelf. "You bastard. The police will be here in approximately 3 minutes. I called them when you broke in. I suggest you run, but honestly, it won't matter. I have everything I need to put you and Sarah away for a very long time." Kevin stood there, crowbar shaking in his hand. For a moment, I thought he might actually swing it. Then I heard sirens in the distance. He dropped the crowbar and ran. The police caught Kevin 2 blocks from my house. He was still running when they tackled him to the ground. I watched from my porch as they put him in handcuffs. Detective Morrison came to my door. "Mr. Mitchell, are you all right?" "I'm fine. He didn't touch me. But I need to show you something." I brought the detective inside and showed him everything. Every video, every recording. Sarah and Kevin planning my murder. Kevin receiving the poison. Their conversation about gambling debts. Kevin breaking into my safe. All of it. Detective Morrison's face grew darker as he watched. "Mr. Mitchell, why didn't you bring this to us immediately?" "Because I needed complete evidence. I needed to protect myself legally. My daughter tried to kill me, Detective. I wanted to make absolutely sure that when this went to court, there would be no doubt about what happened." He nodded slowly. "This is enough for attempted murder charges, against both of them." "Good. We'll need to arrest your daughter at the hospital." "I understand." That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about Sarah as a little girl, teaching her to make paper airplanes, reading bedtime stories, walking her down the aisle at her wedding. Where had I gone wrong? Had I been too distant, too focused on work, or had Kevin corrupted her? Had the gambling debts pushed her to a place she never would have gone otherwise? It didn't matter now. She'd made her choice. The next morning, I visited Sarah one last time before the police arrested her. She was sitting up in bed, looking weak but recovering. She saw me, and tears filled her eyes. "Dad, I'm so sorry." "Are you sorry you tried to kill me, or sorry that you failed?" She flinched. "I was desperate. We owed so much money. Kevin said they were going to kill him. I didn't know what to do. You could have asked me for help." "I did, You said no. I said no to $50,000 for a house you didn't need. I said no to $75,000 for a sketchy investment. I never said no to saving your life, Sarah. You never told me the truth. You never said, Dad, we're in real trouble. We need help. You just went straight to murder. She started sobbing. We thought you didn't have much money. We thought maybe you had a couple $100,000 saved up. We were going to take it and run. Start over somewhere else. I sat down in the chair beside her bed. Sarah, do you want to know the truth? The real truth about your old dad, who you thought was just scraping by on a pension? She looked up at me, confused. I have $8 million, investments, stocks, patents. I've been a millionaire for 20 years. I lived modestly because I didn't need more. And I planned to leave every penny to you when I died. All of it. You would have been set for life. Her face went completely white. What? $8 million, Sarah. More than enough to pay off your debts 20 times over. More than enough to live comfortably forever. And you tried to kill me for it. No. No, that's not... We didn't know. Exactly. You were willing to murder your own father for money you thought existed. It didn't even matter how much. You were just willing to kill me. Dad, please. If you have that money, you can help us now. You can pay Tony. Kevin and I can start over. We can make this right. I stood up. 2 hours ago, I signed papers donating that entire $8 million to charity, cancer research, children's hospitals, scholarships for poor students. Every single penny. It's gone, Sarah. You killed our relationship for money you'll never see. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The police are coming to arrest you this morning. You and Kevin will be charged with attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and breaking and entering. My lawyer has all the evidence, the videos, the recordings, Kevin's confession, all of it. Dad, please don't do this. I'm your daughter. You stopped being my daughter when you put poison in my soup. I walked to the door and stopped. Goodbye, Sarah. Dad, Dad, please. I love you. I didn't turn around. I just walked out. The trial took 6 months. It was all over the news. Local teacher's daughter accused of attempted murder for inheritance. The evidence was overwhelming. The videos played in court. The jury saw Sarah and Kevin planning my death. They heard Kevin threaten me with a crowbar. They saw the forensic evidence of arsenic in the soup. Sarah's lawyer tried to argue that Kevin had manipulated her, that she was a victim of his gambling addiction and his debts, that she'd been coerced. But the prosecution played the video of her standing at my kitchen counter, putting poison in my soup. They showed her face. Calm, determined. No one was forcing her hand. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all counts, both of them. Kevin got 25 years. Sarah got 20 years with possibility of parole in 12. I attended every day of the trial. I sat in the front row and watched my daughter get sentenced to prison. She looked at me once, tears streaming down her face, mouthing the words, "I'm sorry." I just looked away. After sentencing, I did something I'd planned for months. I went to the prison where they were being held before transfer to their permanent facilities. I arranged a visit through my lawyer. One last conversation. They brought Sarah and Kevin to separate sides of a divided visiting room. They couldn't see each other, but they could both see me through the glass. I picked up the phone on Sarah's side first. "Hi, sweetheart." She grabbed the phone. "Dad, thank you for coming. I knew you still loved me. I knew you'd forgive." I'm not here for forgiveness, Sarah. I'm here to tell you something important, something I want you to think about every single day for the next 12 years. Her face fell. That $8 million I told you about. It's real. And it's gone. I donated $4 million to cancer research in your mother's name. She would have been ashamed of you, by the way. $2 million went to scholarships for underprivileged students, $1 million to children's hospitals, and the last $1 million I split between various charities. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know exactly what you lost. Not just money, not just your freedom. You lost a father who loved you more than anything. You lost a legacy. You lost everything that mattered. And for what? Gambling debts, greed, impatience. Tears ran down her face. I made a mistake. You made a choice. And now you live with it. I hung up the phone and moved to Kevin's side. He picked up his phone immediately. Mr. Mitchell, please, I can explain. I don't care about your explanations, Kevin. I just want you to know something. Tony, the man you owed money to, I paid him. His eyes went wide. What? I paid your debt, all $340,000. I went to him personally and settled it. Why would you? Because I wanted him to know that you no longer owed him anything, that there was no reason for him to come after you or Sarah anymore. And then I told him exactly where you'd be for the next 25 years. I smiled. Tony has friends in prison, Kevin. Lots of friends. They don't like people who try to kill old men for money. They especially don't like people who get their wives to help. Kevin's face went pale. You wouldn't. I didn't have to do anything. I just had a conversation. What happens next is between you and Tony's friends. I stood up. Have a nice life, Kevin. What's left of it? I hung up the phone and walked out. I didn't look back. 3 weeks later, I sold my house, everything in it. I bought an RV and started driving. I had no destination in mind. I'd kept enough money for myself to live comfortably, about $500,000 in a separate account Richard had helped me hide. It was more than enough. I drove through Oregon, down through California, across to Arizona. I visited national parks. I had coffee in small-town diners. I met people who didn't know my story, didn't know about my daughter, didn't know about the trial. I was 72 years old and completely alone. No family. No ties. Nothing holding me to any place or person. And for the first time in 6 months, I felt free. One evening, I was parked at the Grand Canyon, watching the sunset. An older couple walked by with their granddaughter, maybe 6 years old. The little girl was laughing, holding both their hands, swinging between them. It made my chest hurt. That could have been Sarah and me with her children someday. That could have been my legacy. But some things, once broken, can't be fixed. I thought about calling Sarah, just once, just to hear her voice. But what would I say? I'd said everything that mattered. Instead, I started the RV and drove into the sunset. Somewhere out there was a new life. A new beginning. Maybe I'd find peace. Maybe I'd find purpose. Or maybe I'd just keep driving until my story ended naturally, the way it was supposed to. One thing I knew for certain, I'd never trust anyone completely again. My own daughter had taught me that lesson, and it was a lesson that would stay with me until my last breath. As the canyon disappeared in my rearview mirror, I thought about all the money I'd given away. $8 million that could have bought comfort, security, legacy. Instead, It was healing sick children, educating poor students, finding cures for disease. Sarah had wanted me dead for money, so I made sure that money would do some good in the world, that it would help people instead of feeding gambling debts and greed. It was the best revenge I could imagine. I drove through the night, heading east toward places I'd never been, toward a future I couldn't predict. The road stretched out before me, empty and full of possibility. Behind me was everything I'd lost. Ahead was everything I might still find, and somewhere in between was just an old man in an RV, learning to live with the choices his daughter had made, and the choice he'd made in return. Thanks for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories like this. Where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments.